Okay, let's unpack this. What if the key to real inner peace isn't out there somewhere? What if it's something you already have right now? Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really significant book, Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. The audio overview we looked at classifies it as spirituality, self-help, mindfulness, that kind of area, and it describes the tone as reflective, even transformative. So our mission today is to really dig into the core ideas, presence, consciousness, and pull out the insights you can actually use. And here's the hook, the big idea. Imagine realizing that, say, 90% of your suffering isn't actually caused by what's happening right now. Instead, it's made up, manufactured by your mind, constantly going over the past or worrying about the future. Tolle says peace is right here in this breath.
It's a really powerful invitation, isn't it? Because it changes the game. Spiritual enlightenment isn't some far-off goal. It's framed as something accessible, like right now.
Yeah.
We're basically looking at the path to finding that peace beyond the noise of thought.
So, yeah, this deep dive, we'll be looking at Tully's main themes. The ego, this thing called the pain body, what presence really means, and crucially, the practical ways in.
The gateways.
Okay, to really get it, I think we need to start where Tolle started, with his own pretty dramatic personal shift. He wasn't, born enlightened. He was actually a researcher in England, and he was apparently just consumed by anxiety and deep depression. It got so bad that one night he hit like rock bottom psychologically. He talks about this one thought that just overwhelmed him. I can't live with myself any longer. Heavy stuff.
And that is the spark, really, for the whole book. What's fascinating here is what happened next. That thought didn't just stay a thought. It triggered a kind of split. A deeper part of him surfaced and asked this really critical question. Who is this self that I can't live with?
So like if there's an I and a self I can't live with, then there must be two of me.
Exactly. That question just shattered the identification. He suddenly realized he wasn't the depressed thinker. He was the awareness watching the thinker. And this realization led to this profound silence, apparently overnight. The next morning, he said the world looked totally different, vibrant, alive, untouched. That spontaneous awakening, born from total despair, became the foundation. The truth that the present moment, this now, is the only reality there is. That was lesson one, you could say.
That's the core insight then. The self he couldn't live with was a kind of fiction, the egoic mind. So if letting go of that identification is the key, we need to understand what keeps pulling us away from the now, the mind's habits.
Right. And Tolle uses a really useful metaphor for this. He says the mind is a fantastic tool, a great servant for planning, analyzing, sorting things out. But when it starts defining who you think you are, when it runs the show completely, it becomes a terrible master, a tyrant, really.
And most of us are caught in that tyranny, aren't we? Constantly replaying old mistakes, regrets, or scripting future worries and anxieties.
Absolutely. And think about modern life. It amplifies this, doesn't it? Social media constantly drags us into past comparisons or future aspirations. Status anxiety, nostalgia. Tolle's point is incredibly simple but profound, both the past and the future. They only exist as thoughts in this moment. They aren't real places you can go. The only thing you ever actually experience directly is now.
Okay, that makes sense intellectually, but if we would grasp that, why is it still so hard to stay present? Why do we keep getting pulled back into suffering? This is where I think Tolle's framework gets really interesting. He maps out the mechanics of suffering.
He does. He points to two main obstacles working together. The ego and what he calls the pain body.
Okay, let's break this down. The ego first.
Yeah, the ego is basically our sense of self, the identity we construct. It's built on thinking I am my thoughts. It's also built on comparison, on needing to be right, on defending itself. It seeks validation through possessions, status, what others think.
Yeah.
That constant internal narrator saying, I am this, I am that.
So the ego is like the architect of our mental prison, the I story.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And if the ego is the architect, the pain body is like the emotional fuel for that prison. De Tolle describes it as this accumulation of old, unresolved emotional pain. Past hurts, trauma, anger, sadness, stuff that hasn't been fully processed. It kind of lives dormant inside us like an energy field.
Okay. And how does it connect to the ego?
Well, the pain body gets activated by the ego stories. When a thought comes up that resonates with old pain, like feeling slighted or remembering a loss, the pain body wakes up. And it wants to feel that pain again. It feeds on negative thinking, conflict, drama. It actually seeks out situations that will trigger it just to keep feeling that familiar suffering.
Wow. So the ego provides the script, and the pain body provides the intense, often overwhelming negative emotion that kind of feed each other.
Exactly. It's a cycle. The ego thinks a negative thought. The pain body responds with painful emotion, which then fuels more negative thoughts from the ego.
That sounds difficult to break. How do you deal with something like the pain body, this reservoir of old pain that seems to want to suffer? You can't just fight it, can you?
No, that's the crucial point. Fighting it, resisting it, judging it that just gives it more energy, that's what it feeds on. The solution, Tolle says, is awareness. It's about noticing it when it arises, recognizing that wave of old anger or sadness or fear without getting swept away by it. You observe the feeling in your body, the tension, the thoughts associated with it,
Yeah.
but you don't become it. You don't identify with it.
So you see it as an energy pattern passing through rather than, this is me, I am angry.
Precisely. You become the witness. You watch the emotion without judgment. And when you do that, when you bring conscious awareness to it, you cut off its fuel supply, the unconscious identification. It's like shining a light on it. It can't survive in the light of your presence. It gradually loses energy and dissolves.
Okay, so that realization, I am not my thoughts, I am not my pain, I am the awareness behind them. That's the core practice. And you mentioned that when you become that witness, a kind of space opens up.
Yes, a gap appears between the stimulus, the thought or the external event, and your habitual reaction.
Yeah.
Between the trigger and the suffering.
And in that space, that gap, there's freedom.
That's where the freedom lies, the freedom to choose a response rather than react automatically based on past conditioning or the pain body's agenda.
You realize happiness isn't something you achieve later when circumstances change. It's actually available now in that state of aware presence.
And this naturally leads us to the idea of acceptance, which can be tricky.
Right, because acceptance sounds passive, like giving up. If something bad is happening, shouldn't I resist it?
It's a really common misunderstanding. Tolle makes a distinction. Acceptance isn't about liking the situation or wanting it to continue. It's about accepting the isness of this moment. It's non-resistance to the form this moment has taken, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. Resistance is the internal fight, the mental no to reality. That's what causes the suffering.
Can you give an example? Traffic one is classic Tolle.
Yeah, it's perfect because it's so relatable. You're stuck in traffic, late for something important. You feel that irritation rising, the tension. Maybe you're mentally blaming other drivers.
The internal monologue kicks in.
Right. That internal friction, that's the ego and maybe the pain body kicking off. Tolle's invitation is, first, notice that resistance. Feel it in your body. Then, consciously choose to drop the internal fight. Accept this moment, the being stuck as if you had chosen it. Just allow it to be without the mental commentary. Paradoxically, when you stop wasting energy resisting what is, you often find you have more clarity and energy to deal with the situation effectively. Or if there's nothing to do, you can just be present and find peace, even in the delay.
So acceptance is about the inner state, not necessarily inaction.
Exactly. It frees you from suffering so you can act wisely if action is needed. It's a subtle but powerful shift. And this is where you see Tolle drawing on deep wisdom traditions, Buddhism, Taoism, Christian mysticism, but distilling it into something very direct. Just be aware right now. Listen, don't just analyze.
Okay, so we understand the problem, the mind, the ego, the pain body pulling us out of the now. And we understand the solution, awareness, acceptance. But knowing isn't always doing. How do we actually practice this? Tolle offers specific techniques, right? The gateways to the now.
Yes, and this is where it becomes really practical. He provides tools because, let's face it, we need anchors to pull us back from the stream of thought. The first and maybe most fundamental is breath awareness.
Just focusing on the breath.
Simply bringing your attention to the sensation of breathing, in and out, feeling the air move. The breath is always happening now. You can't breathe in the past or the future. So shifting your focus fully to the breath immediately interrupts the compulsive thinking mind. It pulls you right back into the present moment. It's always available.
Okay, that's accessible. What's the second gateway?
The second builds on that physical anchor, body consciousness. This is about feeling the inner energy field of your body.
Inner energy field, what does that feel like?
It's subtle at first. Try feeling the aliveness inside your hands right now without moving them, or in your feet. A faint tingling, a sense of presence within the body. Tolle suggests scanning your whole body, just feeling that inner life. The key is you can't think this feeling. You have to feel it directly.
So it bypasses the thinking mind again.
Exactly. Resting your attention in the inner body grounds you instantly. Tolle calls this accessing the unmanifested, the stillness beneath form through your physical form.
Makes sense. Breath and body. And the third gateway.
The third is surrender, which we've touched upon. It's that conscious allowing of the present moment to be exactly as it is.
Saying yes internally, even if the situation is difficult.
Yes. Not a resigned yes, but an open, non-resistant yes to the reality of now.
Yeah.
It's dropping the inner argument with what is happening.
When you use these gateways, breath, body, surrender, you start to rest more in that state of presence, right? Life stops feeling like a constant battle.
That's the idea. It shifts from something you have to survive, constantly managing problems generated by the mind, to something you actually get to experience moment by moment.
Yeah.
And this resting in presence leads to a different understanding of enlightenment itself.
How so?
Tolle clarifies that enlightenment isn't some superhuman state you have to strive for and achieve later. It's not an attainment. It's simply what's left when you stop identifying with your thoughts, with the ego, with the pain body. It's your natural state of being when you're fully present.
So it's not about adding something, but about letting go of the noise.
Precisely. It's about being here, fully. That is enlightenment, in his view. It's available now, which this raises an important question.
So what does this all mean when we boil it all down for the listener today?
Well, I think there are three core takeaways from Tolle through this lens. First, the present moment, the now, is literally the only time you ever experience. It's your entire reality. Second, you are fundamentally not the voice in your head, the stream of thoughts. You are the awareness that notices the thoughts. That distinction is crucial. And third, true peace comes from accepting the present moment as it is, without internal resistance. That acceptance, that surrender, dissolves suffering.
And Tolle's ultimate message, his core invitation, is quite simple then, isn't it?
It is, he says. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life.
Simple, but radically life-changing if you actually practice it.
Absolutely, and it leads to this final provocative thought. If, as Tolle suggests, problems can't actually survive in the now, because in the now there are only situations to be dealt with or accepted one step at a time, then what major goal or worry or problem are you carrying around today that exists only as a story in your mind? A story about a past that's gone or a future that isn't here yet?
That is definitely something to reflect on. A powerful question to end with. And speaking of distilling powerful ideas, we should acknowledge the source material we analyzed for this deep dive. It was an audio overview from Focus Me. And the creators, Focus Me, they actually wrap up their analysis with a message that fits right in with this theme of continuous learning. They encourage listeners, that's you, to keep learning and growing. They suggest visiting their website, which is www.focusme.com.au. That's FOKUSME.com/AU. Or you can subscribe to their YouTube channel, also called Focus Me, for more inspiring book breakdowns and life lessons like this one. Their final thought is, stay curious, stay focused, and keep expanding your mind. Good advice, I think. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.